Okay, it will confront Jesus was led into the wilderness, according to the history, to be tempted to be penitent by the evil prior to his crucifixion. This is the story of Cain, restated abstractly. Cain is a neither content nor happy, has has with him has we had him. He's working hard, or so he think, but God is a placid. Meanwhile, meanwhile, Abel is, by all appearances, dancing his way through life. His crops flourish, women love him, worth of worth of all. He is a genuinely good man. Everyone knows it is. He deserves his good fortune. All the more reasons to envy and hate him. Things do not progress well for Cain. By contrast, and he brought on his misfortune like a vulture on a cake, on a egg. He strove in his misery to give it, to give birth, to, to give it, to give birth to something hellish, and in doing so, enter the enters the desert wilderness on his own mind. He obsesses over his ill fortune. He's betrayed by the god. He nourishes his resentment. He indulges in even more elaborate fantasies of revenge. And his those, so his arrogance grows to Luciferian proportions. I am highly uses and all possible he thinks. This is a stupid bloodly planet. Has us, has far us. Uh, I am concerned it can go to hell. And with that Cain encounters then in the wildness for the intents and purposes and fall prey on these temptations. And he does what he can to make things possible motivated by in John Milton imperishable imperishable words. So deep malice to confront the race of mankind on the road and hurt what hell to mingle and evolve done all to spread to great creator. Cain Cain turned into to a vine to tame what could deny him, and he does it voluntarily, self-consciously, and with a valiant, afraid throat. Just take a different path. His sojourn in the desert, is the dark night of the soul, so deeply human, universal human experience. It is the journey. It is the journey to that place itself goes one thing fall apart. Friends and happy family are distant, hopeless, and despairing, and black nihilish becomes. And let us to suggest in testament to the execuate of the story. 40 days and nights traveling along in the wilderness might take you exactly to the place. It is it is in such manner to the objective and subjective course come crashing synchronously together. 40 days in deeply symbolic period of time, echoing the 40 years the Israelites spent wandering in the desert after in the desert after escaping the tyranny pharaonic and Egypt's day. 40 days is a long time in the underworld of dark assumptions, confusion and fear. Long about long enough to journey to the very very center, which is hell itself, and journey there is to see things can be undertaken by alone, by any young. Any young is it is who is willing to take the evil of self among with a sufficient seriousness, a bit of a bit of familiarity with history help as surgeon through the totalitarian horrors of the 20th century, which is concentration camps, forced labor, and murderous ideological pathologies. It is a good place and has any to start. That and some considerations of the dark of the fact that that the words of the contemplation camps were camps were humans, all the humans, all the humans too. That is all part of taking the shared story real again, part of updating it for a modern mind. After which say Theodore Adorno, student of authoritarianist, there should be no poetry. It was wrong, but the poetry should be about Auschwitz. In the grim wake of the last 10 decades of previous millennia, the terrible destructive of man has become the problem whose seriousness self-evidently strife. Even the problem or of unredeemed suffering and neither of the those problem is going to be solved in the absence of solution to the others. It is where the idea of just taking of the sense of making as if they were his own become cave, opening the door to deep understanding of the desert encounters with the evil himself. Almost human many heal, human many mini heal, a millennium put, say the Roman playwright Terence, nothing human is alien to me. No three can grow to heaven at the ever terrified Carl Gustav Jung. Psychoanalyst extraordinary, unless it is a roof edge down to hell. Such testament shall give everyone who encounter his spouse. There is there was no possibility for a moment word is that read Sigurd deeply. Consider opinion without a responding move them. It is for the it is for this reason that eight element is so right. Who is willing to do that? Do you really do want do you really want to meet who is in change? At the at the very bottom of the most weekly throat. What did Eric Harris, mass murderer of the Colombian high school, write so incomprehensibly the the very day prior to massacring his classmate? It is interesting when I am in my human form knowing I'm going to die. Everything has a touch of triviality to it. Would, would you dare explain such a missive, or Rose explain it away? In the desert, Charles encounters Satan. this story was this story has a very clear psychological meaning, a metaphorical meaning, in addition to whatever else material and metaphysical alike it might signify. It means that Christ is forever. He not determined to take personal responsibility for the full depths of human depravity. It means that just is eternally he who is willing to confront and deeply concerned is the risk temptation posed by the most malevolent elements of the human nature. It means it means that just is always he who he who is willing to confront evil consciously, fully, and voluntarily in the form that delved simultaneous with him and in the world. This is nothing merely abstract, all throughout it is abstract. Nothing to be brushed over. It is no merely intellectual matter. Soldiers who develop post-traumatic stress disorder frequently develop it not because of something they saw, but because something they did. There are many demons, so to speak, on the battlefield. In involvement in warfare is something that can open gateway to hell. Now and then something climbs through and poses some native farm boy from Iowa, and he turns monstrous. He does something terrifying. He rapes and kills the woman and sacrifices the infant of many lay, and himself himself do it. And so some dark part of him enjoy. And that is the part of the most unforgettable. And later he will not know how to reconcile himself with the reality about himself and the word that was then revealed, and no wonder. In the, in the great and fundamental meetings and ancient Egypt and gods Horus of the rivers has a precursor to chess historically and the conceptually speaking experience the same thing when he confronted his evil the Angusat usurper of the throne of Osiris, Horus' father. Horus, Horus' father, the all-seeing Egyptian falcon god, the Egyptian E of supreme eternal and atten- eternal attention itself, has the courage to contend with Set's true nature, meeting him in the direct combat. In the struggle with his bred uncle, however, his consciousness is damaged. He loses an E. This is despite his godly stature and his unparalleled capacity for vision. What will a merge man lose? Who attempt the same things, but perhaps he mainly gain in the turn of vision and understanding something proportional to what he loses in the perfection of outside world. Satan embodies the full law of sacrifice. His arrogance incarnate speed and cruel, conscious and malevolence. He's a poor hatred of men, good and being, good a begin. He will not humble himself even when he knows he knows no full well, full well that he should. Furthermore, he knows exactly what he is doing, obsessed with the desire for destruction, and he does it deliberately, althoroughly, and completely. It it has to be him. Therefore, therefore the very archetype of evil, who confront from them just the archetype god. It is must be him offers to the Saber Mankins under the most trying of conditions, what humans mostly ardently desire. Satan tempts the heart, the starving chest, to heal, to kill his hunger by transforming the desert rocks into bread. Then they suggest that he throws himself off a cliff, taking a god, taking on God and the angels his fall. Jesus responds to the first temptation by saying, "Once those not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." What those what does this answer means? It means that even under conditions of extreme privations, there are more important things than food. To put in another way, breath is of the little use to the man who has betrayed his soul, even if he currently striving, just could clearly use his near infinity powers as Satan indicates to gain breath, to break his fast in the in the broader sense to gain wealth into the world in the world, which could theoretically solve the problem of bread more perma- per- permanently permanently, but at what cost and what gain? Gluttony in the minds of moral dissolution. That is the poorest and most despair of rest. Church aim therefore at something higher. The description has a model of being that will finally and forever solve the problems of hunger. Is we all choose instead of expandence to the thing of the word of God. That word require each and every person to live and, and produce and sacrifice and speak and share is the manner that will permanently render the privation and hunger a bit of the past. And that is how the problem of hunger in the privatization of desert is most truly and finally answered. There are other indications of this the Godspell in dramatic and non-tech forms. Chest is continually portrayed as the perseverer of endless successes. He miraculously multiplies bread and fish. He turns he turns water into the wine. What does means what, what does this means? It is a call to the pursuit of higher means as the model of living that is simultaneous most typical, most practical and of the highest. quality. It is a cold portrayal in dramatic literature from life has the archetypal savior life, and you and those around you will hunger no more. The benefice, the beneficence of the word of manifest itself to those who live properly. That is better that breath, that is better that the money with that will buy breath. Truly just the symbolic, symbolically, symbolically perfect individual becomes the first temptation. Two more follow, two more follows. Throw yourself off that cleft Satan say, suffering the next temptation. If God exists, He will surely save you. If you are in the fact zone, God will certainly save you. Why will God not make Himself manifest to rescue His only begotten child from hunger and isolation, the presence of evil, of, of great evil? But that is established no parents from life. It does even work as a literature. The Deus ex machina, the emergence of divine force that magically restores the hero from his predicament, is the ship strict in the Hack Riders playbook. It makes a mockery of independence and courage of destiny up and the free will and responsibility. Furthermore, God is in no ways a safety net for the blind. He is not someone to be commanded to perform magic tricks or forced into the self revelation, not even his own son. Do not put Lord your gods to the to the test. This answer throughout rather brief this pass with a second contemplation. Chest does not casually order of their ask God to intervene on his behalf. He refused to despite with his responsibility from the for the events of his own life. He refused to demand that could prove his presence. He refused, refused as well to solve the problems of mortal vulnerability has a merely personal manner by contem by compelling God to the save. Because that were to solve the problems of everyone else and everyone else and for all time. Therefore is also echo of rejection of the confront insanity in this foolish templation. Easy but psychotic self-identification has the merely magic. Messias mind will have been a genuine templation under the harsh, harsh condition of just sojourn in the desert. Instead, he rejects the idea that salvation or even survival or even survival in the shorter terms depends of the narcissist's displays of the superiority and the commanding of God, even his sons. Finally becomes the third templation, the most contemplating of all. First sees the kingdoms of the world laid before us for the taking. That is the siren call of earthly power, the opportunity to control and order everyone as everything. Chess is often the pinnacle of the dominance hierarchy. The animalistic desire of the every naked day, the obedience of the all, the most wondrous of status, the power to build and to increase the possibility of unlimited sensual gratification. That is ex- that is expandence rate large, but that is not all. Such explanation, such expansion of status also improve unlimited opportunity for the inner darkness to reveal itself. The lust from the lust for blood, rape, and destruction is a very much part of powerful attraction. It is not only that men deserve power of they will not longer suffer. It is not only it is not only that they deserve power so that they can overcome suggestion to want. Desire and that power also means the cap- capacity to take vengeance, ensure submission, and crush enemies. Grant Cain, grant Cain enough power, and he will not only kill Abel, he will torture first, imaginally and endly. Then the only then will he kill him. Then he will come after everyone else. There is something about even the pinnacle of of the highest of dominance archeries. Access to switch should not be sacrificed for merge proximal success. Proximal access to switch should not be sacrificed for the mere proximal success. It's a real place to although not to be conceptualized in the standard geographical sense of place we typically use to orient ourselves. I had a division once of of a immense landscape spreads for mile out to horizon before me. I was high in the air, render a bird's eye view. Everywhere, everywhere it could see great straight-filled, multi-storied pyramid of grass, some some small, some large, some overlanding, some superb, all akin to modern skyscrapers, all full, all full of people striving to reach pyramids very pinnacle. But there was something about the pinnacle, a dominant, a dominating outside each pyramid, in which all were nested. That was a privileged position of an E that could our perhaps choose to soar friendly, freely about the free, that choose not to, that choose not to dominate any specific group of cause, but instead to something whole, simultaneously transcendent all. That was attention itself for at once trustman detached, alert, much full attention, wait what when the time was right and the place had been established as the Tao Te Ching has it. It was contrivance defeats his purpose and he wore his grasping losses. The sage does the, the sage does not rivet to win and therefore is not defeat. Is not a grasping so does not lose. There is a powerful call to proper beginning, and the story of the third temptation to dominate, to dom- to obtain the greatest possible prize, the establishment of the kingdom of God of earth, the, the resurrection of paradise. The individual must conduct his own herd, his own herd life and in a manner which was to direction of immediate graphic, graphic, graphic gratification, unnatural and preserve the earth alike, not matter how powerfully and convincingly and realistically those are offered and dispense as well with the contemplation evil amplifies the catastrophe of life, increasing dramatically the motivation of expectancy already there because of the existential tragedy of begin. The sacrifice of the more prosaic sort can help to tragically devy, more or less successfully, when it takes a kind of sacrifice to evil, to defeat evil. It is the description of that special sacrifice that has preoccupied to the Christian and more the Christian imagination for centuries. Why has it not had desired effects? Why do we remain unconvinced that there is not better plan that lifting power is skyward? I am the god and sacrificing everything to the ambition. I have we merely failed to understand or have we fallen willfully or otherwise off the path. And okay, that is there's a Saturday 30. There is a Saturday 30 today. Um, I realize uh practice. I realize exam for my level for I determinate my level English, and my grade is A2. Is a A2. The grade. The conclusion is I have a I have a lot of work for my improvements, and I can do that. I I I am the most disciplined, but I am not very disciplined, uh, and can with that. It's not a race, it's a marathon. Marcus Rashford. Fuck you. That is all.